So in Jack Smith's answering brief to the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals on Donald Trump's appeal of the denial of his motion to dismiss by the district court on the issue of absolute presidential immunity, Special Counsel Jack Smith gives some examples about why Donald Trump's absolute immunity defense would be the complete destruction of our Constitution. And Jack Smith says, if absolute presidential immunity existed the way Trump says it exists, it would allow certain things to take place. But note the very specific examples that Special Counsel Jack Smith gives in his answering brief, and I do not believe that these examples were picked at random. They kind of sound like items that are part of open criminal investigations. It sounds like Special Counsel Jack Smith is aware of the existence of these things. Let me read this portion of Special Counsel Jack Smith's answering brief to you. Then I want to show you the videos of some real-world examples that kind of show that Jack Smith is not just picking these things at random. And then I want to show you Donald Trump's posts about Special Counsel Jack Smith, because they are getting more unhinged each and every day, saying to Jack Smith now, go to hell, rot in hell. These are the messages that Donald Trump is posting. But this is from page 28 of the answering brief filed in the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals by Special Counsel Jack Smith on behalf of the United States government. Here's what it says. The implication of the defendant, Donald Trump's broad immunity theory, are sobering. In his view, a court should treat a president's criminal conduct as immune from prosecution as long as it takes the form of a correspondence with a state official about a matter in which there is a federal interest, a meeting with a member of the executive branch, or a statement on a matter of public concern. Now, here are the examples that Special Counsel Jack Smith lists. That approach would grant immunity from criminal prosecution to a president who accepts a bribe in exchange for directing a lucrative government contract to the payer, a president who instructs the FBI director to plant incriminating evidence on a political enemy, a president who orders the National Guard to murder his most prominent critics, or a president who sells nuclear secrets to a foreign adversary, because in each of these scenarios, the president could assert that he was simply executing the laws or communicating with the Department of Justice or somehow discharging his powers as commander-in-chief or engaging in foreign diplomacy. By the way, it should be noted that Special Counsel Jack Smith did not only put that in his answering brief. In fact, as we've been digging this up, Jack Smith has said this before. Take a look at this brief that Special Counsel Jack Smith filed on October 19th, 2023. So over 2 months ago, Jack Smith goes, the implication of defendant's unbounded immunity theory are startling. It would grant absolute immunity from criminal prosecution to a president who accepts a bribe in exchange for a lucrative government contract for a family member, a president who instructs his FBI director to plant incriminating evidence on a political enemy, a president who orders the National Guard to murder his most prominent critics, or a president who sells nuclear secrets to a foreign adversary. After all, in each of these scenarios, the president could assert he was simply executing the laws or communicating with the DOJ, or discharging his powers as commander-in-chief, or engaging in foreign diplomacy, and his felonious purposes and motives, as the defendant repeatedly insists, would be completely irrelevant and can never even be aired at trial. In addition to these profoundly troubling implications for the rule of law and the inconsistency with the fundamental principle that no man is above the law, that novel approach to immunity in the criminal context, as explained above, has no basis in law or history. So that was filed on October 19, 2023, and we see this brief filed by Special Counsel Jack Smith, the answering brief recently before the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, does this sound familiar? Well, here is Donald Trump, of course, back in the 2016 campaign, saying this. Play the clip.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
So he said, Russia, if you are listening, find me the emails. They did. And now Donald Trump goes out and says this. Play the clip.
I'm not going to protect you any longer. And I remember the head of a country stood up and said, does that mean that if Russia attacks my country, you will not be there? That's right. That's what it means. I will not protect you.
Sounds a bit like a quid pro quo. Find the emails, and then the most recent message and the message throughout the time in office is that America is not going to support NATO. America's going to pull out of NATO. And of course, you have the first visit to the United States by foreign government. Who was it? It was the Russia's top defense diplomats or people who were in the White House, who were in the Oval Office. Not so diplomatic, but they were in the Oval Office. And of course, you have the photos right there. Okay, then Donald Trump takes nuclear secrets to Mar-a-Lago. His lawyer, Christina Bobb, who's also his custodian of records, was asked on Fox when the search warrant was executed at Mar-a-Lago about whether there was nuclear materials, and her answer was she doesn't know what nuclear materials may or may not be there. Here, play this clip.
Okay, so Christina, just so I'm clear about this, I want to be really clear. Is it your understanding that there were not documents related to our nuclear capabilities or nuclear issues that had national security implications in the president's possession when the agents showed up at Mar-a-Lago?
That's correct. I don't believe they were, and if they thought they were...
Well, do you know for a fact? Do you know for a fact they were? Have you spoken to the president about it?
I have not specifically spoken to the president about what nuclear materials may or may not have been in there. I do not believe there were any in there. The legal team had done a very thorough search and had turned over. We'd been very cooperative with the Biden administration and the DOJ and turned over everything that we found that we had. So it's my understanding on very good belief based on a thorough investigation that there was nothing there.
And of course, we also know from recent reporting that one of the kind of key binders containing the most sensitive and classified information about Russia has gone missing. By the way, here was a speech that Donald Trump recently gave a little bit ago. I think this was over the summer at a Turning Point event, a right-wing group event. And here's what he says when it comes to his theft of national defense information. Here, play this clip.
The only power that NARA has is to say to the President of the United States, pretty please, could we possibly have the documents? Quote, asking nicely is about all they can do. That's all they can do. You didn't hear this stuff. You read about espionage and insurrection. These people are sick. They're sick. And yet, they reported me to the Department of Justice for criminal prosecution. Now, you hear what the law is. That's the law. By the way, there were many other cases that back that up, too. I didn't even know that until 2 days ago. Many other cases back that up.
So, as I've said before, a hit dog will holler, and Donald Trump is certainly hollering. And as Special Counsel Jack Smith is giving these examples in his answering brief, we see Donald Trump's rhetoric with Jack Smith, as unhinged as it was always before, is ratcheting up to even a slightly different level. For example, right here, Donald Trump writes, Biden's flunky deranged Jack Smith should go to hell. That's what Donald Trump's writing. Should go to hell. Who says that? Who talks like that? A grown person acts like this. Here's what Donald Trump, of course, said on Christmas. Merry Christmas to all, including deranged Jack Smith. May they rot in hell, referring to Jack Smith and his other perceived political opponents. May they rot in hell. Again, Merry Christmas. A hit dog will holler. And I think Jack Smith, in the answering brief, and again, the brief that he filed in October, there's nothing that Jack Smith does that is just random. So he is signaling that there's something deeper that he knows. And remember, Jack Smith's very patient. Jack Smith, unlike Donald Trump, steady, calm, patient, and then will provide the information at the perfect time. So we'll keep you posted, but I wanted to highlight that key area. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network, and have a great day.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.